The United Nations is saying this morning rescuers in Afghanistan are in a race against time. They are scrambling to reach a remote mountainous region to search for survivors after Sunday's magnitude 6.0 earthquake. Government helicopters are conducting aerial searches and are dropping off medical supplies in hard-to-reach areas. The Taliban government this morning says more than 1,400 people have died, and the Red Crescent Society says over 3,200 people are injured. The Taliban has now appealed to the international community for humanitarian aid. The UN's resident coordinator for Afghanistan has echoed that call. But international aid organizations have responded, and let's find out what UNICEF is doing. Salam Al-Janabi is with me. He's a communications specialist with UNICEF Afghanistan, and he is in Kabul live with me this morning. Salam, good morning and welcome to our program.
Good morning.
You will be, I would imagine, getting a greater sense of the full impact of the earthquake now. What is the latest information that you're hearing from out of the quake zone?
Indeed. I mean, I think the most shocking impact thing that we've heard is the extent of the impact of the crisis in terms of the casualties. The numbers are rising very quickly. The 1,400 killed, the 3,000 more injured, and we're hearing also around 5,000, 6,000 homes are destroyed. One of the reasons why we are seeing this figure now sort of increasing from yesterday is what I'm hearing from our UNICEF colleagues out on the ground is some of the roads that were blocked yesterday are open today. We are able to access areas that we did not access yesterday, which means the 15 mobile health teams UNICEF and other UN agencies have surged into the area can now reach more families. It also means that families who are able to get out from the rubble can get out of these most impacted areas. But it also means that we are seeing more and more of the impact. I have education colleagues today telling me from there that tens of schools are confirmed destroyed. Tens of our UNICEF's community-based education classes are confirmed destroyed. We are now concerned about the wells that have been impacted, the situation of water. So as we get the ability to surge in more aid, we're also seeing more and more of how devastating the impact has been.
And in terms of response, you mentioned 15 mobile health teams. That's a sort of a group effort. And I was showing some of the rescue helicopters that have gone into those remote areas. When they're getting in there and able to see the damage, are they finding, Salam, that there are people, do they still think there are people still trapped in the rubble and debris?
That is continuously the fear. That's why we also think the numbers will rise. So the area, if you've seen the pictures, it's a mountainous. Homes are built basically like terraces on top of each other. As the earthquake happened, all of these toppled on top of it. It was midnight. So basically we're at home sleeping. So that has sort of impacted the numbers. Also, yesterday we had 5 aftershocks, which continued more of the sort of difficulty and more structures falling down. So now as we see more of how difficult the situation is, we also realize so much more is needed.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I definitely want to turn to the needs in a moment. I was just trying to, when you mentioned the schools, were there children in those schools at that time, Salam?
So the earthquake happened midnight, Afghanistan. So people were at home, and that is why we're seeing so many high numbers. People were not outside; they were inside the homes, and everything sort of tumbled on them.
Okay. So in terms of response, you're trying to get to people and take them to get help. We know that the hospitals were stretched. Are they available? Are they functional? Can they get people to care, those who need it?
Yeah. So UNICEF is supporting two hospitals nearby, the Jalalabad Hospital and the Kunar Hospital, and we are seeing a lot of these helicopters from the local authorities. They're bringing out the injured to these hospitals. My colleagues are telling me that since the earthquake, they had more than 550 patients go into just the Jalalabad Hospital. So we are really surging. Health is one of the needs that very quickly, in terms of first aid with the mobile health teams and also sort of support to the hospitals. The next phase immediately, and remember we had already one night, is shelter. With 5,000 homes destroyed, all of these families are spending nights out in the open. The temperatures are cold now here in Afghanistan, single digit at night in that mountainous area. So again, UNICEF is now sending out tents and tarpaulin and things that there's a thing that we call family kit, which has some kitchen equipment, hygiene supplies. Yesterday night, my colleagues are telling me what they're hearing from the moms is clothes for children. When they lost their homes, they lost everything. So now also we are bringing in, usually we bring winter clothes for children later in the year, but now UNICEF is bringing it a little bit earlier. So all of these things coming in on top of each other, very urgently needed, yet you still have to consider what is needed further down the line. This is not going to be something quick.
And that was going to be my exact question to you. Obviously, the immediate needs of food, water, and shelter, as you've laid out. But then, with 6,000 homes destroyed, what do you think UNICEF's role is going to be for the long-term needs?
So, very quickly, water and sanitation is a concern, and we're looking at this now, how to bring in safe water, because that can be a source for diseases that will impact children's health. Nutrition for children is also very important. And then with all these casualties, the next concern is children who have lost their parents, unaccompanied children. Child protection issues in these situations are really of concern. So again, as the immediate response is happening, we have all the other sectors that UNICEF work in, going in and trying to understand what the situation is and sort of coming in with the next wave of assistance that is needed in the area.
So good to raise those child protection issues, important in these stories, water and sanitation, waterborne illness, all of these things that we'll continue to watch. I'm wondering, we are hearing this morning, Salam, from the Taliban government officials themselves who are urging for international aid, greater international assistance. There has been some response from some countries, but it has been muted because of the political situation with the Taliban's return to government. And I'm wondering what impact that is having on your ability to do work.
Overall, Afghanistan has been one of the most challenging countries operationally I've worked in, and I've worked in Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq. So, and the recent sort of this year's funding cuts have impacted UN agencies in different ways, but still significantly. You have the World Food Programme, who provides food for people, is seriously impacted, UNFPA and others. For UNICEF, for us, thankfully, in terms of the health response, which is now urgently needed, we are fine for now. But as you said, we are looking beyond just now. We can probably, with what we have from other donors, respond very quickly. But what happens in the next step? What happens after the first week? What happens when we need to provide safe spaces for children? What happens when we need to figure out temporary learning spaces for all the learning spaces that have been lost? And that is where definitely all of us, UNICEF and other UN agencies, will appeal for the international community. And we hope that the world does not forget about children here in Afghanistan. It's heartbreaking. I've been here for 4.5 years, and it's been a relentless cycle of things that out of their hands, but there's nothing left for them.
Many governments, Canada's included, concerned about money getting to the Taliban, wanting to make sure they protect that it goes to agencies like yours to do the work that is so very urgently needed at this moment. And that's a big part of the story there in this disaster. Salam, thank you very much for today. We'll keep in touch and certainly continue to cover this. Salam Al-Janabi, who is in Kabul this morning.